What's up, fam? And first time fam, welcome to another edition of Man to Man. I'm David Wazicki, your favorite certified transformational nutrition coach. And today we get to welcome back an OG Black Love docuseries family member into this beautiful space.
Yeah.
He's also a husband, he's a father of two, he's a brilliant actor. You've seen him in all the things from Save the Last Dance, all the barbershops. He's now in Reasonable Doubt. And the reason we're here today is because he's starring as Gene Mobley in the brand new movie Till, the incredible true story of a mother's pursuit of justice for her son, one Emmett Till. So listen, fam, I'm so excited to get to talk to this brother. Let's give it up for the one, the only, Sean Patrick Thomas. What's up, my brother?
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going, man? Good to be here, David.
Good, good. But yeah, likewise, glad to have you here. Yeah, I'm so excited and I'm definitely ready to get into all the things Till with you.
Let's do
But
it.
here at Man to Man, hold on. we gotta we gotta do that one question. It's our special check system. We call it getting Man to Man blue check certified. So
Okay.
it will set the stage for the rest of the convo. You ready?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, Sean. What does masculinity mean to you?
Hmm. Uh, Masculinity to me means accountability. It means that when you have situations that you're encountered with in life, that you don't point fingers, that you look at yourself and you say, okay, what part do I have to play in this chain of events that I'm experiencing right now? To me, a man doesn't point fingers. A
Mm,
man looks at himself and says, okay, what steps did I take to lead me to this spot? And let me take responsibility for that. And if I don't like where I am, take different steps. But what I'm not going to do is blame anybody else or point fingers. To me, that's
wow.
masculinity.
I love that. I love that. And I'll just say it's still unique. It's interesting. Every time I ask this question, I've never had the same two answers. And this one hits. It is impactful because, let me ask you this. What you just defined as masculinity, does any of that play into, here comes a segue, play into your role as Gene Mobley in this amazing yet heartbreaking true story of Emmett
Mhm.
Till?
Well, I think it can come into the play in the sense of we have to look at what happened to Emmett Till in 1955 and recognize that it's still happening now.
Sure,
So,
sure.
if we don't connect the dots between what happened to Emmett Till and what's still happening now to black men, if we don't connect those dots, then we can't be surprised when things aren't getting better. So, is it our responsibility to make sure that racists don't attack and kill us? No, that's not our responsibility. That's white people's responsibility to fix their neuroses, people that are
Hmm.
racist. But what is our responsibility is to participate in the process. What is our responsibility is to vote. What is our responsibility is to be involved in crafting policy and law that can make it much more difficult for people to try and trample on our rights.
Hmm.
So we have to vote. We have to get involved with school boards. We have to get involved with neighborhood boards, and we have to understand that things aren't going to get better unless we make things get better. And so I guess the accountability idea comes in there. Uh,
Yeah.
the world isn't just going to roll out the red carpet for us and be fair because we want it to. We're going to have to force the issue. We're going to have to demand it.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I could not agree more. And I feel your passion, and I know this is something I believe you're doing actively in real life, and appreciate you for bringing it out in that way. But back to Till, excuse me, in that in terms of accountability, it's unfortunate because I'm shocked that so many people still do not know this story.
Right.
Um, and you know, in that regard, so one, they don't know about this story. They don't know what happened. So, you know, quick gist, unfortunate circumstance, 14-year-old Emmett Till gets lynched for whistling at a white woman in
Hmm.
Mississippi in 1955, which to even say that it's painful to even verbalize this.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it's not so long ago, right? We say 1955, it's not
Yeah.
that long ago.
Yeah.
And then what's so powerful is that we're looking at this movie and this, again, true event through the eyes of his mother.
Hmm.
Uh, Now, for you come in because you're a person in her life that was lesser known. I was not familiar until this movie of Gene Mobley. I was
Hmm.
not familiar of him being her partner and effectively being her rock, as it
Yes.
seems from the clips I've seen and the reviews that I've seen about that. Um, and the fact that she was also a strong woman, a very strong
Yeah.
woman. Now I heard in these Blackcliff streets that your wife likewise is also a strong force of the world.
These black love streets.
uh,
She
and those
is.
can attest. And if not, go check out that season because you'll definitely see that amplified and come through beautifully
No
in the
doubt.
best way possible. So,
Hmm.
how much of you, you know, being a husband to your wife did you bring into this role with Gene, and are there any similarities there?
Sure, there are similarities. When I was preparing for the role, I had a lot of conversations with one of the producers and writers of the script, Keith Beauchamp, who knew Gene Mobley very well, and he knew Mamie very well, and he was with them
Mm,
together as a couple, and he saw how they interacted together as a couple. And
mm,
what he told me was that the core of Gene's approach to being with Mamie was that he was all about being of service. He was 100% about being whatever he needed, whatever she needed. He was all about being there for her as her rock and as a source of strength for her. And I would not compare myself to Gene Mobley in my own life with my own wife because the things that they dealt with were so earth shattering and monumental.
mm,
It would feel kind of blasphemous to make any type of comparison. But what I will say though is that I do try my best every day to be mindful of what Annika wants and what Annika needs. And it's always at the core of decisions that I make throughout the course of the day, you know, whether it's,
mm,
you know, something as simple as, you know, what she might like to eat or, you know, or anything like that, or, you know, how can I help do more, you know, with the kids. All from there, mundane things to all the way to, you know, how can I just be a better husband in general, a better man,
mm.
a better boyfriend,
Yeah,
all of those
yeah,
things. I'm always thinking about those things. And I think in that respect, uh, Gene and I might be similar. Just that's kind of at the core of where we come from when we get up in the morning.
yeah, yeah. Um, that's great. I mean, I think again, I've seen that emulated on the Black Love docu series, and again in reading about Gene. Um, and again, yes, not to compare one to one, but
Yeah,
just in certain essences of being and how
right,
your approach is.
right.
I love to hear that. You mentioned children, so I know you
Yes,
have two teenage children.
yes. My son is almost a teenager, and my daughter's a teenager. She's 14.
Almost.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
14. How
Lola is
old's your son?
14. Lola's 14, and Luke is 12.
12. Okay, preteen.
Yeah,
Okay. So one
very
year out.
close. Yeah,
Um so yeah, you know, and again, we're talking about Emmett, and he's within that same age range, unfortunately,
yeah.
when he passed. So so okay. here's the hard part.
Yeah.
I would love to discuss with you if you're open to. So one is, did you think about this? Because again, I'm not trying to put this one-to-one similarity, like, oh, Sean, you're just like, but did you have these thoughts of, your children who are, was within that,
Yeah,
same
I did.
timeline and
Mhm. I did think about that. One thing that really resonated with me from the film was that Mamie said that she raised her son to be proud. She raised her son to not bow down or cower to anyone, and to have confidence in himself. And the irony of all of that is that she taught him that he's not less than anyone, and that's how he behaved when he went to Mississippi. And it's tragic that he had so much confidence and so much life that he forgot that it's different down there. He didn't understand that you can stand in your own strength, and that's something that's threatening to people, especially down there in Mississippi. Now, when I
sure.
think about my own children in that regard, it's a scary thing because I raise my children the same way. That you are not, a second status to anybody ever. And I understand that if they're in certain situations, they may have to tone that down to survive. That's a
Right.
scary thing to think about.
Right.
They've been in the car with me when I've been stopped by the police. I've
Hmm.
driving through Beverly Hills. The police have stopped me, and everything in me screams that I want to give this cop a piece of my mind. Because when we got stopped, it wasn't because I was speeding or did anything illegal. I was stopped because they said someone matching my description was, suspected of committing some type of crime in the area.
Hmm.
And this is 10 minutes from my home where I live.
Wow. Wow.
And so I had my wife and my children in the car, and Annika could see that I was about to blow.
Yeah.
And because the children were with us, she kind of grabbed my leg and squeezed it. And she was like, Sean, don't do it. Don't do it. And she was right, because we needed to get out of that situation and get home.
Right. Right.
Um, that's counter to what I teach my children. I teach my children, if anybody treats you unfairly, you punch back and you punch them in the mouth, figuratively speaking.
Sure.
You know?
I'm a fan. Just
And in that moment, because of who I was dealing with, I couldn't do that. And that's the conflict, that's the struggle. And so when I think about Till, like, that's the parallel that I see, is that, like, you
yeah.
work so hard to have your dignity and your self-respect, and you refuse to take a back seat to anyone. But that same thing could get you in trouble.
Right. Right. It's it's almost as if being black and melanated in this world, you teach to be confident, you teach to unapologetically be yourself
Right.
with an asterisk. It's like, do
Correct.
that.
Yeah. Right.
Asterisk, but in I mean, and it's very unfortunate, and to what you were speaking to at the top of this with accountability,
Mhm.
these are the things we need to be accountable for so we can push it. And one day I would love to have known or be one of these ancestors. I hope it doesn't take that long, but
Yeah.
looking at reality where we can erase that asterisk from it, and you can
Yeah.
in fact be unapologetic. But yes, it
Right.
does take that accountability. And I'm also glad she squeezed your leg so that you because I understand.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, there have been occasions where I have not had anybody there to squeeze my leg, and
Hmm.
it's been an issue. So,
Yeah.
but with my
Yeah.
children with me, that's a whole different game.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I think with fathers in particular, being a father of a 4-year-old right now, I'm going through these motions of what to do, what not to do, how to, yes, show up unapologetically, how to be yourself while still, to your point where you said figuratively protect yourself or punching someone in the mouth
Right.
figuratively, because
Figuratively. Yes.
sometimes there may be those situations where it goes from figurative to literal, and then that's a whole other
Yes.
conversation, and
Right.
thankfully I don't have to deal with that yet,
Right.
and hopefully not ever, but
Yeah.
but yeah, there are those things, and it's, as a dad and being melanated is in this world, it is challenging, and it has me think about a lot of historical figures, whether it's uh, uh, I'm forgetting the phrase now, but W.E.B. Du Bois, and having this
Right.
dual citizenship. I forget
Hmm.
his exact phrasing, and I know I'm butchering it, but
Hmm. No, I know what you
that,
mean. I don't know the exact phrase either, but I know what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad, at least with this generation where we're at right now, we can put an asterisk. But
Right.
nevertheless, that I feel like that identity, that dual identity, still exists and is still something we're
Absolutely.
challenging.
Yeah.
I wanted to also talk about the other side of this child dynamic, where there's a lot of grief involved in this storyline, right?
Mm.
And there's grief in losing a child. And you and your wife were very open and vulnerable. I have to go back to Black Love Doc one more time,
Mm.
the docuseries, because I mean, you both were incredible in just being vulnerable about loss, and with the
Mm.
miscarriages and that journey. um I mean, like, when it comes down to these conversations, I feel as though, and this isn't what I'm about to say, it's not incorrect. However, we sometimes forget to talk about men and the husband and the father in these situations,
Yeah.
because we experience loss a whole lot differently. Black men experience loss even more so,
Mm.
and I'm glad right now we're at a point where we talk about our mental health, and we're starting
Yes.
to kind of be more open. You've done that. Is there anything you can share in terms of, one, the gene dynamic, but yourself, as it relates to this sort of loss? Because again, from a black man's perspective, that's
Hmm.
probably one of the least heard in this scenario.
Right. I mean, you're right. It's funny that you asked me that because through that whole period of time with the miscarriages, I didn't feel like I had a right to that, I guess, grief a lot of the
Yeah.
time. I didn't feel like that because I was looking at Annika and she was in so much pain and she was at such a loss of what to do, that all of my energy went into making sure she's okay and to try and keep optimism up and keep hope alive, as they say.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
but I had my moments, sure, where I wondered, like, will we ever have a child? Will that
Yeah.
ever happen for us? I had moments where it was very, very important to me to have Annika be very clear that she had nothing to worry about if, for whatever reason, this didn't work out in terms of having a child. Like, I know there were times where she worried, like, gosh, because I don't know if Sean's going to, be happy, you know, long term if we don't have a family. I know she worried about
Right.
that type of thing. And so I put all of my energy into reassuring her that that was nothing that she had to be concerned about. Uh, but to be honest with you, when we were dating, and got serious and got engaged, we talked about babies all the time. I mean, that was like
Wow.
one of our chief uh, topics of conversation because we're both so family oriented. Uh, that that to get married and then to have difficulty in that particular area was very, very tough. But we got through it, and it turned out better than we ever could have imagined. Lola
Mm.
is the most incredible, sweet girl, or now I guess young lady
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you could ever imagine. She's beyond anything we ever could have hoped for in a daughter, and our son Luke is astonishing
I love
in
that.
terms of just how 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 smart he is and how much of a gentleman he is and I'm so proud of him in so many ways and he and Lola are perfect in every conceivable way that I can think
Oh,
about and it was a tough time but it was worth the wait
yeah.
on every level because Lola and Luke are everything that a man could ever want in a daughter and in a son. And looking back, if I were to retell the tale, and I wouldn't want it any other way because
Mm.
I have my Lola and I have my Luke,
Yeah.
and I couldn't be
Yeah.
happier.
Oh, amazing. I love that. Yeah, you have like my eyes are a little watery. I love hearing other fathers just gush over their children and I'm so glad because I
uh,
do the same. I do the
yeah,
same.
I'm
So,
obsessed with them. I'm obsessed.
yeah. I
Yeah,
love it.
and
I
grateful to
love it.
Annika,
And
and grateful to Annika for hanging in there.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, how did you? I mean, yeah, again, you were the support system, but internally through all of that,
Hmm.
I'd love if you can share. And if there is no secret, there's no secret. But I'd love to just understand how did you get yourself through this? I
Hmm.
know, for a woman, that's and what you did. That's what we're here to do, right? We're
Yeah,
here. We're supposed to be that rock,
yeah,
but for yourself, in the midst of all of that, we
yeah.
are human too, right? We
Yeah,
still have these moments. We have the grieving, we have the
you
emotions, we
do.
have some men cry in the dark, some men don't cry out in public.
Yeah.
What did you
Well,
do for
for
yourself?
me, it was kind of like it was like one step forward, two steps back type of thing. I remember the first miscarriage. I thought, okay, we're gonna get through this. I know this happens, and I didn't think it would happen to us, but it did, and we're gonna get through it. It's gonna be okay. And I said that to her, and I said that to myself. You know,
Sure.
um, the second miscarriage, that's what just broke me
Mm,
because that's when I thought, okay, this might be a problem. Um, there's something going on here, possibly, and this is not just a thing where you have to just like grin and bear it, and we'll get through this. It was more of a thing like, oh my gosh, like there may be an ongoing issue, and that to me was the most crushing part. Um, Feeling that way, and I didn't want to put that on Annika because she already had enough on her shoulders, you know.
sure.
Uh,
Sure.
but what actually got me through that part, I think, was number one, Annika was very resilient. The whole childbearing, childbirth thing is Annika at her strongest
Hmm.
by far. She's just phenomenal. So I was able to kind of take her lead actually through that period of time. And the other thing was we had people around us saying, "Oh well, it's okay if you never have a child of your own, you can adopt." People were telling us, people were starting to tell us those things. And hearing that made me feel like, you know what? That's true, but we're not done yet. We're going to keep trying. And actually hearing those things kind of helped me snap back into being in the present and being
Mhm.
focused on not giving up. And so that's kind of like how the process worked for me.
Got it. Got it. I appreciate that. So segue. I love how you dropped the one word that I need here.
Okay.
So process. I've heard
Uh,
your acting process is I read something. The word that comes to mind is clinical. You're very kind of you have your routine. You have your way and process of approaching a character, approaching a script, approaching these different roles. And I'm curious, does that pour over into your life? Because here at Man to Man, we talk about wellness in all its forms and all the
mm,
things, as we have just talked about fatherhood, being a husband.
mhm.
But I also like digging into understanding, any daily routines or rituals. And since you approach acting, as long as I'm correct, if I'm incorrect, please correct me. Approach acting in that way. Do you approach your life in that way? And if so, what are these things, and what is that
Right.
routine or ritual for you?
Right. To be honest with you, I mean, I don't want to say you're 100% wrong in what you may have read or heard, but I don't think of myself that way. I don't think of myself as clinical because it depends on the role. Some things
Sure.
you roll totally off of instinct and improvisational, uh, you know, spirit, and then other things aren't like that. Some things you have to bear down and study like if you're doing Shakespeare, for example, like you have to like break down the meter of the poetry. You have to
Sure.
really dig into the imagery and figure out what these words mean. And that's much more of like a marriage between your imagination and script analysis, you know?
Mm.
Um, but in terms of daily rituals and all that stuff, I do tend to be pretty, I guess, consistent and disciplined in that sense. It's very important to me to uh, to have my nutrition on point, to get enough
Mm.
sleep, to be hydrated. I'm pretty regular about making sure that I hit the gym and then I stretch because at least for me, when I get on set, when I feel like my breathing is fully supported and when I feel like
Mm.
technically like I can articulate well and the back of my throat is resonant and open, I feel like I can do my best work. And that's all just physical stuff. That's all
Right.
about just feeling like your instrument is tuned up
Yeah.
and ready for
Yeah.
action. So that's the most important thing to me, no matter what I'm doing, is that I need to
Yeah.
feel like my instrument is sharp and on point. And for me, that's just being connected to breathing naturally, and not
Yeah.
to not have shallow breath and to really make sure that my voice feels connected to my breath and to what I'm thinking and feeling. Uh, that's really the through line for me. And
Yeah.
so if I don't get enough sleep, or if I haven't had enough water, or if I haven't eaten, that throws all of that out of whack for me. Like for me on set, every actor's different, but for me,
Sure.
I can't work unless I've had breakfast. I just can't do it. I
Yeah.
like nothing works. My brain doesn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
My imagination doesn't work. My instrument doesn't respond at all. But I know other actors who
Yeah.
don't eat breakfast at all, and they don't eat anything till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they feel great. You know. But I'm not like that. I got to get my grub on, and
Same.
then once I get my food and my green tea, I'm straight.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Is there anything you can add that you may do? Again, no pressure, mentally,
Mm,
because again, I know there with acting and being on set, there's something in that mental space as well. Is there
right.
anything you do to prime mental as well?
I just try and quiet my mind as best I can, and block out distractions. I think that
Mm.
I do my best work, and I think any actor does their best work when they do. And I've said this before in other discussions. If you can get out of your own way, that's when you do your best
Mhm.
work. When you have an uncluttered mind, uh, you can pretend more deeply and more fully
Yeah.
when you're on set or on stage. So I try my best to block out distractions and just be relaxed and open. And
Yeah.
that's what works for me.
I love it. I love it. You're speaking my language, and now you're getting me all excited. And I'm like, okay, now we're warmed up. Now we're ready to really jump in here.
Okay.
Um, However, I also have to be aware and conscious of your time.
Sure.
And I appreciate your time so far. And it's just flown by because I appreciate you. I feel like, once we get into the man that is Sean Patrick Thomas, that's where the interesting things and the correlations happen between this character that you are spotlighting and amplifying and bringing to life on the screen. And with
Mhm.
that, I feel like I can continue this conversation. But
Sure.
again, respectful of your time. I do want to let the good people know to make sure to connect with you uh, on the Instagram at Sean P. Thomas. That's SEAN P. Thomas on Instagram. And please make sure to go see Till, Till, right now in theaters everywhere. It's such an important story that everyone needs to know and understand. Again, go to Till, TILLMOVIEDOTCOM. That's tillmovie.com to get your ticket. Check out this amazing performance. Check out this amazing true story that everyone needs to hear about. And while you're getting your tickets, make sure to tell another brother, king, or queen about Man to Man so we can keep these combos going. And if you like what you're hearing, give us those 5 stars, leave a review, leave a comment on Sean's IG. Let him know how much you support and appreciate, I'm sure, the masterful work. I look forward to jumping in a theater very soon to check this out. It's available everywhere. Man. And Sean, I just, I thank you again. I have to get all these things out, but I really appreciate
Sure.
your time. I
No
appreciate your
problem.
openness and vulnerability. And I appreciate you taking on this role and being able to put it out there to the world.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for having me. I mean, I love having these conversations because they're easier for me than the standard run of the mill, quote unquote interview. Like I much prefer having a conversation than an interview, if that makes any sense. So this is great.
Absolutely. Awesome,
Yeah.
Sean. Yeah, that's always our goal here is,
Yeah.
I know you still have to promote, but I still want to get to the heart of the man, of who you
Sure.
are and what you bring as a person, as a human first, and then how that translate into whatever it is you're doing. And again, you're continuing to crank out great work here. And again, like I said, I look forward to it and I appreciate you.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
All right, fam. Until next week, peace, love, and wellness. Take care.
All right, David. All right. Thanks, man.